It's so good to see all you guys. I see a lot of friendly faces. Liliana's has a little bit about us too. Liliana's has a full vegetarian vegan menu available all the time. So if you guys are ever hungry, we make our own seitan in-house. We make smoked tofu that's awesome. We slow smoke it for like 3 hours and it is delicious. And then at Charlie's, our new place. So Liliana's is named after my daughter. This is Liliana. Say hi.
Hello.
So Liliana's is named after my daughter, and then Charlie's we just opened up in October, and that's named after my son. And 100% of the menu items there can be made vegan, including vegan cheese curds. They're also gluten-free. So we have vegan gluten-free cheese curds. We have a fish fry that you can get that's vegan. We have shepherd's pie that's amazing that's vegan. So I'm vegetarian. I have been for 2 years. I'm not vegan yet. I'm close. I'd say I eat like 99.9% vegan when I cook at home. And it's just cheese is still my last thing. I know it's coming there. It's so close, but it's just that I'm Wisconsin, and I know you hear that all the time, and you roll your eyes every time a Wisconsin person says that. But like it's my last little challenge. I ice cream, soy milk, we do all that vegan. It's just the cheese. So one of the biggest challenges I have, and that I've always had as a chef when cooking vegan, is that you miss out on one big flavor component when you get rid of things like dairy and even things like meat. And the biggest flavor component for me is the savoriness, you know? So when you cook vegan, trying to give you that like comfort food flavor or that warm flavor is really difficult. And in fact, when I talk to people who have tried to become vegan and then fail, 9 times out of 10, it's cheese, or it's that when they cook food at home, they just miss that savory flavor. They miss having something that fills them up, that feels like, you know, what mom used to make kind of thing. So I think one of the biggest things that happen when we cook vegan is, number one, chefs in restaurants don't know enough or sometimes even care enough to figure out how to cook something that tastes good vegan. So most of the time when you go out, it's like, and I'm sure you guys can all relate, like veggies in some sort of pasta with absolutely no sauce because they're terrified of giving you something that's not vegan. So it's got like white wine and noodles and undercooked vegetables. Everyone's laughing, it's so true because it's everywhere you go. So you got that, or you've got like the dreaded portobello burger, which who knows if that bun is actually vegan. You're just like kind of like hedging your bets that it probably is. But there are like three things that you can usually eat when you go out. And I think, you know, a lot of chefs, I don't want to say they're scared like chickens, but they are. They don't want to go out and try something new and different. They're really comfortable in their kind of wheel well. So me personally, I think, you know, I'm going to talk about some like different techniques that I use to help give things some savory flavor. But really at the end of the day, I think one of the things that we forget about when we're cooking vegan is fat. Fat is absolutely flavor, and fat is in butter, it's in cream, it's in bacon. No kidding. It's in all these things that we've cut out eating vegan, but then when we introduce other things that are substitutes, they tend to be fat-free or low-fat. You know, like, you know, you look at like So Delicious, like coconut yogurt, it's got 1 gram of fat. There's very little flavor in it. Most of the things that are substitutes are healthier versions, and that's great. It's great to have healthier things introduced into your diet. However, you miss that savory component. So 9 times out of 10, if you're like, man, what could make this taste better? Fat. All the time. It works like every time. For non-vegans, it's butter. For vegans, it's a little more difficult because one of the things that butter does is it'll do what's called mounting. So if I take white wine and I reduce it a little bit, and then I take butter, I can really slowly whisk it over low heat. And as I'm adding those butter cubes one at a time, it'll mount. It'll form kind of like a cream sauce. Well, if you try and do that with earth balance, it doesn't work. It just doesn't, there's nothing you can do to make it mount. So the only thing that I found you can do is do a little bit of a slurry. So a slurry is cornstarch and water, and you whisk that up in just cold water and cornstarch, and then whisk that into your white wine first. It'll thicken a little bit, and that thickness will let that earth balance kind of emulsify in. So anyway, I'm gonna make a couple different things for you guys, and then you guys get to taste it. Hopefully we have enough portions because there are a lot more people here than last year. So hopefully just fight for when you see the tray, just like dive for the samples first, and good luck. So I'm making 2 different things for you guys. I'm making number 1, I'm making our seitan, and I'll do a demo for that. And then we're also gonna make a vegan blue cheese dressing. So how do you take something that's got cheese and mayo and buttermilk and sour cream and how do you make that, I mean, really, literally every ingredient in blue cheese dressing is not vegan. So how do you take something like that and then come up with an acceptable substitute that's good enough that most of your non-vegan friends would even appreciate it just as much. And I think that's one of my biggest challenges as a chef, and not even a challenge, one of the things I push myself towards is I want people when they come into like Charlie's or to Liliana's and order a vegetarian dish or order a vegan dish to be able to pass it on to their friend, have them take a bite and say, well, it's not that bad. I actually really like this. And I think one of the things that's so great about being vegan or vegetarian right now is that the substitutes that are around are amazing, like Gardein. I mean, we have so many meat options. I remember when my sister was first vegan 10 years ago, I remember she handed me a vegan hot dog, and she's like, taste this, it tastes just like a hot dog. It tasted nothing like a hot dog. There is nothing even remotely close to that being a hot dog. It was like chewing on like a plastic bag that someone had like ground a hot dog up in. Versus like now, things like tofu pups and like all these different things, they all taste so similar that it makes it a much easier debate when you're talking to someone who eats meat. It's a lot easier to say like, hey, try it and you'll like it, and they actually do like it. Like our vegan fish fry that we have at Liliana's, it's so good. We have people who order that over our regular fish. So, I think that's one of the coolest things about being around right now and being a vegan is that there are so many great choices. So. I'll stop babbling. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our vegan blue cheese. So again, fat important. That's why we have 2 things of mayo. Mostly it's because there's a lot of you here. So, and it's going to be, we have that, and we're just going to serve it with some English cucumber. So we have, this is the most appealing part. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Oh yeah, you don't get this at the cooking channel. No, sure don't. We're gonna let Lily keep, splatting out the mayo. Splatting, that's a chef term, by the way. I just want to let you guys know. To splat. Yeah, get this on video. This is important. There we go. Even closer. Let's get really right in there. Oh yeah. I love Liliana, by the way. She's amazing. She has this little giggle that you'll hear the entire time. But she does it everywhere. So like when she's on a sports team, you can hear her like running and you just hear the whole way. It's awesome. You'll hear it. Like now, anytime that you're anywhere she is, you'll just hear this little, anywhere you go. It's great. It's a vegan giggle. Okay, now you can do the other one too. So some other things that add that kind of, oh jeez, I warned you. I warned all of you about the splash section. Every single one of them up front. It's like Shamu up here. So one of the things that we talked about is that, one of the things I had talked about was that, that savory flavor. So one of the things that I found is awesome at that, and you'll actually see it, so let me back up. Probably 90% of the chips that you guys buy have 2 things in them. They have yeast extract, which is basically it's just MSG, but it says yeast extract, so it looks less, MSGE. And then and you'll see onion powder, and those are the 2 things that you'll see on almost every single Chex or like Chex Mix and everything you get. It's going to have those 2. Both of those things add that savory flavor. I don't know what adds that neon orange color, but like the savory flavor is definitely in the onion powder and the yeast extract. So if you don't want to use the yeast extract, also like nutritional yeast, if you guys don't use, you guys are all vegans, you guys use nutritional yeast. I don't need to talk to you about that. But nutritional yeast is awesome. Brewer's yeast you use a lot. All of the yeasts have that kind of savory component. But my favorite is actually the onion powder. It adds a huge amount of, oh, it's okay, you're good now. Now do the other bottle.
Again?
No, not this one. Oh, did you already do this one? Oh, no, do this one again.
Okay.
Just keep going. You're doing great. So we got some, see, look, you got it, mostly, kind of. And then the other thing we're going to put in, so we've got some onion powder. We got a little bit of garlic powder. And then what I did here is I chopped up some soft herbs. So here, just smell. So our soft herbs that we have, we've got some tarragon, we've got some parsley, we've got some chives, and a little bit of dill. It's majority parsley though, and we're just going to put some of those in too. We're just going to put them all in because it looks pretty. It's all about exact measurements. Exact measurements. Put in exactly this much pepper plus this. And then put in about 1/3 Dave handful of salt plus a pinch of a knuckle.
Ew.
Yeah, that's gross.
That's not vegan.
Yes, that's definitely not vegan. She's awesome. That's not vegan. Hey, what if I willingly put in part of my knuckle? Then
Ew.
kinda. Yeah, it's kind of gross too, isn't
No,
it?
that's still not vegan.
It's still not vegan.
It comes from a creature.
She schools me all the time. And then we're going to put a little bit of coconut milk in, coconut yogurt. And this is the unsweetened kind. Don't use the strawberry kind when you're making this, like one of my chefs did making it one time. It does not equal blue cheese dressing in any way, shape, or form.
That does not sound good.
It was not good. It was horrible. So the things that we... Hold on. Shh. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to shush you. People are watching. What were you saying?
Did it go out?
No, it didn't go out.
Okay,
Come on. What kind of chef am I? So the things that I think about when I have a blue cheese dressing. So this is what I do every time I try and recreate something that was not vegan and now I'm making it vegan. I try to think, what are the characteristics of that make it that dish. So for blue cheese, obviously we've got like the creamy. You're good. We got the creamy part, but then we've also got the chunks, right? That's part of blue cheese dressing. Is the little chunks. But then there's also that tiny bit of acidity that you get from the blue cheese and from the. No, you're all done. You're good. A tiny bit of. Well, now it's on my shoes, but that's okay. You get to clean them up. So we also have that tiny bit of acidity that comes from the buttermilk and also comes from the blue cheese. Well, that's not in the yogurt, it's not in the mayo, and so we want to bring that component back in. So we're going to use just a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and we're going to put that right back into our jugs, in the mayo jugs, the jugs. And we're going to put the lid, here, now you can shake it.
Oh, yay.
Oh, it's the simple pleasures, guys. Oh, yay, I get to shake a jug of mayo with vinegar in it. That's like sound. Can you guys hear that? Yeah. You don't get that on the Food Network either, do you? Nope. Just screw it on all the way. Here you go. Oh, that's just everywhere. You guys are so lucky you're not back here. Seriously. And we're going to put that in too. You know, now I know why they don't do dressings on the Food Network. They just really aren't pretty to look at at all. This is better than the Food Network. That's Vegan Network. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do after you put in that, don't worry, we're all waiting. No, it's okay, no one's watching. Here you go. Okay. No, it's okay, I got it. We're all good. Okay, so we're going to whisk that up a little bit. You can help.
Okay.
So now Lily whisked that up for a little bit. And then the other thing we have is we've got chunks, right? So we talked about the chunks before. What we use is we use little tiny pieces of crumpled up tofu. And use the extra firm stuff and don't use silken. But the extra firm regular tofu crumbled up in here makes awesome little blue cheese crumbly things. Trust me. Oh, also, this doesn't. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. Don't say but they're going to eat this. It's delicious.
Just that sound is
I know the sound, but they can't hear that from there.
The sound is not the most appealing.
It really doesn't. You guys are really, it's good to be back there. You don't want to hear it. It's just not. The squishing and then the slopping. It's really, seriously, they should never put that on Food Network. Okay. No. Here we go. Let me help. You have a 9-year-old do something for you. And
I'm 9 years old, though.
I know. That's what I just said.
I know.
Okay, now we got to taste it because that's important. It's perfect. I'm just going to add that. And then more of this. And then more of this. See, this is why you always taste things. It's important, guys. I will tell you, the number one ingredient that people take for granted that they shouldn't is salt. How many of you guys have over-seasoned something before with salt? Okay, anyone who didn't raise their hand is a filthy liar. Every one of you have. So the big thing is I think what happens is every single person in here has over-salted something at one point, and then it makes you scared to over-season it again. And what happens for most of you when you cook is this is what salt does, right? Salt is not about making something taste salty. Salt is about bringing out other flavors. So all that salt does is think of it as like a volume knob on your flavor. The only problem is, just like a volume knob on a speaker, is eventually, if you turn it up too high, then it gets distorted. Oh, it's not working. That would have been so cool if it had distorted. But it gets distorted if it's too loud. Well, the same thing happens with salt. As soon as you put in just a little bit too much, all you taste is salt. So you don't want to taste salt, but you really want to push it all the way up so that you can hear every single little bit. And what the salt does is it'll bring out little flavors. I'll make a dish, I'll let people taste it, and they'll be like, that is awesome. That is perfect, I wouldn't change it. And I'm like, oh yeah, watch this. And I change it just by adding salt and pepper. And they're like, oh my God, you're right, now this is perfect. Don't change it, this is awesome. And I'm like, okay, let me put on some salt and pepper. And they're like, oh wow, this is awesome, this is totally perfect, this is exactly how you should make it. So the point is, we're so nervous about over-seasoning something that we end up under-seasoning things a lot. And you'd be amazed, everyone takes salt and pepper for granted, right? It's on every single dining room table, every single restaurant table, it's everywhere we go. But remember, when you hear about the spice wars, like the Crusades and all of these things fighting over the spice trade wasn't like cinnamon and like allspice and like Chinese 5-spice, it was salt. That's what the spice wars were about. It's awesome, and that's why it's on every table. Okay, you've been whisking it up. I just forgot you're whisking. Here we go. Don't worry, you guys get to taste it now. Just pass the bowl around. Everyone dip your finger in. Oh, wait, where'd you go? Isabella, where'd you go? Can you take this back to the guys? Just walking back. Hey guys, blue cheese is ready. Go get it. Okay. Wow, we made a huge mess up here.
Sorry, that was mostly my fault.
I know it was. That's why I said we, though. I took credit for it. Okay, so now we're going to make Seitan. Okay, so this is the Seitan that we make. Now, here's the thing. So I'm making one recipe of this is the beautiful bowl. Doesn't that look nice, guys? Ooh, I'm just kidding. So we make our Seitan our way, but this recipe can be converted in any way you want. So for instance, ours uses soy sauce because we like that. We also have tomato paste, orange, lemon, lime, zest that we put in. We have all these different things that we put in, but as long as you keep the ratio of the flours right and the amount of liquid you have, you can do anything. So like we do this Seitan at Liliana's for Thanksgiving. We make a turkey, kind of like tofurkey style. So you can do this exact same recipe, but instead of soy sauce, get mirepoix base, which you can get at like Woodman's or other places, and don't get bouillon and don't get the powder stuff. Get the stuff that's like a paste and make it super concentrated to the point that it's as salty as the soy sauce is, and then fold that in instead of the soy, leave out all the zest and everything, and it tastes almost exactly like tofurkey. So this recipe can be modified a bunch of different ways. And then there are 2 different ways to cook it. I'll show you how we cook it in a little bit. We cook it in a way that keeps it very dense, and that's what you guys are going to be tasting in a little bit. It's very dense, but we wrap it in tons and tons of plastic wrap, and then boil it for about an hour and a half. By the way, it's always hard to describe how we make our Seitan to people who aren't vegan, because it's really hard to make it sound appealing. Because it's like, well, what we do is we take, vital wheat gluten and water, and then we boil it for like 2 hours, and it's delicious. Like, it's really hard to make it sound amazing, but it really does turn out really good. But the other way that you can cook Seitan is to do more of kind of like a free form. So just take it and pull it off into little clumps and push it in the water. And then it's like really fluffy and light. So if you're looking for something that's got like the texture of chicken, then definitely don't do it in the plastic wrap the way I'm doing it. Take the same recipe and put it in the, just put it right in the water. But don't forget to season your water if you're doing it that way, because it'll soak up all the flavor that's around it. So you can even cook it, if you're doing like the turkey one and you're doing it in the little balls, cook it in some more of that mirepoix base in the water so that the water is really seasoned, because it'll just soak it all up and you'll have a ton of flavor. Same thing when you're making pasta. Okay, so the things I've learned in making seitan is first, you want to add all of your liquids. And so this is, I don't know if you can see, there's little ice chunkies floating in it. One of the most important things when you're making seitan is to use the coldest water possible. So I actually will put it in the fridge, or I'll just fill it up with ice and water and then wait until there aren't enough ice chunkies floating around. Put that in. You want to help? Yeah, sure, in 1 minute. Tomorrow. I'm just kidding. You're doing great. And then we're going to put in our soy. And so we've got about 2 cups of ice water and 1 cup of soy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take, here, you can help with this. Do you want to help with this?
Yeah.
You want to take the stickers off? I'm just kidding. You can do this for real. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to take a microplaner. These things are great. You can get them at a food store for like $25, or you can go to Home Depot and get them for like $3. It's totally your call. Whatever you want to do. Personally, I go the $3 route, but hey, you know, one of them says like fancy word on it. That was totally staged and planned. So what we're going to do is we're going to, it's only $3. Jeez. You guys expect me to be like a $15 food safe one. Jeez. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take the outside. If you don't have a microplaner, you can also just use a lemon peeler and peel off the out. It's okay. Shh. I don't have a handle anymore, guys. Why don't I do this instead of you? This is definitely not going as well as planned. Yeah.
I don't.
Whoever's idea this was.
I thought it was you.
Shh, don't tell me. That was, seriously, I could not have planned that timing better. I got the cheap one. Oh, man. See, this is why when I do catering events, I'm always the one who goes, because nothing can ever go as planned, ever. Okay, so we just want to take the outside off. Be really careful. Can you see the, wait, hold on. Be really careful not to get the pith part. You only want to get the light layer of the zest. The outside zest is all really sweet and fantastic, but as soon as you get to the pith part, it gets really bitter. So you want to stay away from that. So we got from 1 lemon, from 1 orange.
Orange?
Mm-hmm. Not on here. You don't need to do the whole thing. This is mostly just to give it a little bit of kind of sweet. There you go. And then we're going to do a lime. We're going to put a little bit of that in here. Just a little bit.
What's this?
And then we've got fresh garlic. And we're going to use the microplaner for the garlic too. And the reason is because it's no fun biting into a giant piece of garlic. So we're just going to take some cloves of garlic. Thank you, chef. She seriously is like the best helper in the world. I'm not biased.
I can reuse this one.
That's okay, we'll use it again.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and then we're gonna throw in some tomato paste.
Ooh.
You wanna do it? Oh, it's already out. Sorry. Bad dad. Did you say it's okay that I'm a bad dad? No, it's fair.
No, you're an incredible
No,
dad.
it's fine. It's too
No,
late now.
that's not
No,
what
it's
I
too late.
meant.
No, it's too late.
That's not what I
No,
meant.
it's too late now.
No. That's not what I meant.
You guys all heard her. You are in front of all the witnesses, so yeah, it's been pretty great. So we opened the restaurant on Liliana's, yeah, you want to stir this? We opened the restaurant on Lily's first birthday. So when she was just 1, we opened up, and we actually even have pictures of Lily on my wife's back and on my back as like a 6-month-old while we were laying the tile and building all the woodwork at the restaurant. But in doing so, she's been around the restaurant the whole time.
Oh, no.
Don't worry, I won't tell that.
them. Don't tell the story. No.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to, but now here's the story. So shh, just keep stirring. Just keep stirring. Just keep stirring. So this is a PG-13 story, so if you have young ears, close them slightly. Just looking around. Okay, so she's been in the kitchen, and I don't know if you know this. Kitchens don't necessarily always have the best language. I don't know if you've heard this or not, but we have potty mouths. We do. I try to control it when I'm around people. But it's okay. It's okay. Daddy's gonna embarrass you your whole life, so this is just one more time. My sister and her husband were visiting us, and they were in the house, and they were taking forever to come out. And I was holding my 1.5-year-old daughter. We'd only been open for like 6 months. I was holding my 1.5-year-old daughter. Shh, no, they can't hear the story if you keep moaning. So she was 1.5, and I was holding her, and I yelled for my sister and her husband to hurry up. I was like, hey guys, come on, we gotta go. And my beautiful, innocent, sweet, beautiful daughter, who was only like 1.5 years old, yells, and I mean like yells at the top of her lungs, yeah, come on, bitches, at the absolute top of her lungs. And my wife was right in front of me. And my wife gets mad at me, because I'm me. I've never seen her that mad about anything in my whole life. And of course it was my fault. Like, I'm the only guy who's ever said that in the whole life. Yeah, that story's gonna be told for years. I'm always gonna tell it because it's a great story. Everybody laughed, except for a couple parents who were just like, they were like, he's a horrible father.
Also your daughter, who is so...
Yeah, my daughter will always be embarrassed. That's okay. I was embarrassed of my dad. He was embarrassed of his. It'll go on for generations to come.
Well, now you have to tell a story about... Ooh, now you have...
No more stories. Okay.
Now you
No. So next time... Shh. No, wait, we're doing cooking now. So now what we're going to make... Oh, no, keep stirring. So we've got... I should be a magician. Misdirection. Okay. So we can't tell that stories. No, wait. What if you say that? It's actually embarrassing. Hold on. Shh. Okay, so we're gonna start now. Okay, at least I know this one. There are much worse stories she could have told you. Go ahead.
So he was in the car with his... Well, when he was 3 or 4, he was in the car with with my grandpa and my
to tell
grandma.
it quicker if you're gonna tell it.
And someone was driving really unsafely and...
Cut off my dad. Yep. And what did my dad say? Don't say it. He said, damn it, so she doesn't have to say it.
And then my dad, my either 3 or 4-year-old
I was 3 years,
dad,
yeah.
Okay. And the whole rest of the ride, he was saying, damn it.
The whole trip. So it was on the way to Florida. This is like just outside Chicago. Just outside Chicago, my dad goes, damn it, as we pass. And I thought it was the coolest word ever. So the whole trip, a whole like 23-hour drive was just, damn it, over and over.
My parents didn't want to say anything about it because that would be saying like, oh no.
Oh wait, hold on, stop stirring. So one thing really quick, we got so excited about stories. So I have Vital Wheat gluten. So Vital Wheat gluten is the gluten that's been extracted from flour, and it's the remaining protein that's left. We got Vital Wheat gluten, and we've got just regular old bread flour. The important thing is you want to put your liquids in first. So you saw we put the soy, the cold water, and the zest and the paste in first. We got that really, really well mixed up. As soon as the gluten goes in here, but before you do it, just stop stirring, put it all in, and then mix it at once. And if you watch as I stir it, it's gonna churn into a big spongy mess really, really quick. And you just wanna kind of fold it in. So you can also put in, like I said, anything, like nutritional yeast flakes, anything you want. And one thing that's really important when you guys are doing this, one of the things you wanna do is as soon as it starts turning into a little mess, we're gonna knead the ever-loving crap out of it. Again, a technical term. That was me, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. But one of the things that's gonna happen is this is going to get tougher and tougher and tougher. And if you overknead your dough, you're going to end up with really tough and chewy seitan. So you want to knead it just enough that you don't see anything dry left, and then you're done, okay? No, I got it. You can help me with the other part. How about that? I'll show you. I'll show you when I show them. Okay, and then we're going to cut it up. So you guys see how it's just kind of coming together, but then it's just a little bit of dust on the side. If I keep kneading this, it'll just be a rock hard mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pat it down into a little ball, and then I'm going to cut it into 4 semi-equal portions, which I didn't do. Here we go. Good enough. Okay. And then get out your commercial size cling wrap. So I also recommend go to like Kavanaugh Restaurant Supply. It's off Fish Hatchery Road. It's open to the public. You don't need to be a restaurant to go in. It's right behind like Zimbrick. Go in there and get real cling film. The stuff that you guys get, like saran wrap and all that, it sucks. It's horrible. This commercial stuff is so much better, and it's like $25 and it's 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet. This will last you until your grandkids have the saran wrap. So, but it actually works really well, and it's wide enough, and it's awesome. So what you want to do, I'll do the first one, you can do the next one. How about that? So what I want to do is I want to just press it really tight and form it into a log.
That's also an interesting sound.
Yeah, it's also an interesting sound. Yeah. Should have brought better audio for those, so everyone can really be immersed. You hear it? Yeah. It's like doing a cooking demo in 4D. Okay, so get it really nice and compact and tight, and then we're going to pull this up over, and we want to just keep it as much air. So as we're rolling it, we want to kind of press the air out of it. And when we're almost done, we're going to fold it over in half again. And we're going to do it again. And then this one, we're actually going to do this 3 times. This one, what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're just going to twirl it up tight. Fold it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Don't mind that. Okay, she's doing the other ones. I don't even need the glove. Here we go. Okay, put it in. I'm going to take this off now. Go ahead. See the giggle? I love my extra large gloves on her like triple extra small hands. It's pretty great. Wait, here, can you just hold your hand up for the camera? Awesome. Okay, while she's rolling that up, do you guys have any questions about anything? No questions? Okay, thanks so much, you guys. Okay, what did you say? How much flour? So we use 5 cups of Vital Wheat gluten flour and 1 cup of bread flour. And then that's with 2 cups of ice water and 1 cup of soy sauce. And then we just use the zest of an orange, a lemon, a lime, and probably about like 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I don't know if you can tell I make this a lot. Yeah. Great question. Woodman's is great. Honestly, one of the best places that we get it, we buy it in bigger bulk. I don't know if you guys are going to go through a 110-pound bag of Vital Wheat gluten. If you don't, Bob's Red Mill is actually great. They carry it at Woodman's, and that one's really good. You can also get it, I mean, it's actually pretty darn available. It's not available at like your bigger chains as much, like Kopp's and stuff, but I definitely have it at like Woodman's. Yeah?
2 questions. I've seen recipes where when you're using salt, you layer it and you're melting the recipe together.
For salt?
Yeah, several times during the recipe.
Yeah, that's just a bunch of baloney. Yeah, that's not true at all. Yeah, no, so here's the thing about why you add salt either before or after. So when you add salt before, the only reason you add salt at the beginning of making something would be two reasons. One, salt will break down the molecular structure of things like vegetables and meat. So if you add salt ahead of time, so like let's say you're doing a saute of vegetables, right? If you're sauteing vegetables and you don't have any salt in them, then most of that water stays inside the vegetable and it'll caramelize really well, right? So if you want like brown, caramelized, beautiful, like fajita style vegetables, just don't put any salt in at first, okay? But if you want to sweat your vegetables, if you want to not have it caramelized, you just want to be more like, kind of like steamed, like just a little bit of caramelization. If you put salt in ahead of time, that salt will pull the water out of the vegetables and kind of deglaze the pan. And oh, good job, now do two more. Sous chefs. So for that, that's the only time you'd want to add salt ahead of time is if you want to kind of break it down. So salt does great things too besides season. It pulls moisture out. That's how we were able to eat meat a long time ago, was by preserving it. So yeah.
How come you wrapped it 3 times?
Because it sounds good. So the reason we want that's a good question, I'm just kidding. So the reason we want to wrap it 3 times is we want to be able to keep all of the, it's basically insulating it. We're not poaching this in a flavored liquid, we're poaching it just in water. If water does get in, it kind of makes it look all soggy. So we use lots of layers of plastic wrap to make sure the water doesn't get in. But it's a good question. Yes, you could probably do it 30 times if you wanted.
We want to reduce sodium. Do you have any suggestions for?
Yeah, so, okay. So I know there are gonna be people in the room who are gonna be like, when I say this, but one ingredient that's great is MSG. And here's the thing, I know there are a lot of people who are like, MSG is the devil, but here's the thing. 90% of the research, 90% of what you know about MSG was completely made up in a crap study. Like Google it, look up MSG. Monosodium glutamate, one of the things that's great about it is that it has 4 times the amount of savory ability, so 4 times more savoriness will come from it than salt. But, so sodium chloride, which is salt, is 80% sodium and 20% chloride, right? But monosodium glutamate is only 60% sodium. So you get 4 times the flavor profile increasing, right? You get 4 times more flavor than you do from salt, and it's got like 20% less sodium in it than salt. So I know there are gonna be people who are like, my grandma said that'll kill you with the Chinese food, but it's not true. All the research, all the studies that were done, there was only one study that's ever done, and it was completely blown out of proportion. There are some people, though this is true, there's maybe like 0.001% of the population that does have an allergic reaction to it. But it's not, there's some great stories on it. Like do some research and look on in there. A lot of it actually comes from kind of a racist thing that happened about Asian culture and Asian food. So do some looking in on it, but MSG is awesome. You can get it at Woodman's, it's called Accent. I don't use it at my restaurants because there are still people who are like, if there's MSG, I'm never going in that place. So we don't personally use it at our restaurants because there are stigmas that you just can't break no matter what. You know, just like, I know you guys don't eat pork, but like cooking pork medium rare is totally fine now, and it has been for 30 years, ever since they started freezing it. But still at our restaurants, if we serve it, people will send it back because their grandma told them that it'll kill them. So, you know, there are all these like little like food myths that are out there that there's no amount of speaking about. I could hand everyone a flyer about it and it wouldn't matter. They'd think I made it up because it's already ingrained. So for low sodium cooking, thank you, dear. Some other things that really help, citrus is fantastic. So citrus, things like lime especially. Lemon tends to be a little overpowering, but things like lime are fantastic for cutting down sodium. That little bit of citrus really helps. So, but yeah, I know that there are still gonna be people in here, no matter what I do, no matter what they Google, they'll think that MSG is horrible. But really, honestly, especially if you're trying to do low sodium, MSG can be fantastic. It can really bring out a lot of different flavor. And you'd be surprised at I'd say probably like 85% of packaged foods that you guys eat have MSG in it anyway, and no one has any bad reactions. It's, you know, one of the things that happen is like, people are like, man, I'm allergic to MSG because I went to a Chinese food restaurant and I ate like a 4,800 calorie meal and I had diarrhea. And it's like, yep, that was the MSG, all right. It was not the like giant bucket of like sweet and sour chicken covered in like, you know, with like 30 pounds of fried rice. That definitely had nothing to do with it. So, yeah, any other questions? That. Which thing, the seitan? The seitan, this will stay fresh. If you keep it wrapped in the plastic, technically I have to tell you 7 days because that's what the health department tells you. But honestly, as long as you keep it fully wrapped in plastic in the back, like coldest part of your fridge, you got about 2 weeks out of it. What I recommend if you're gonna keep it for a long period of time though, after it's done cooking, let it slice it and then let it put it on like a tray in your freezer. And then once it's hard, take it out of your freezer. It's basically IQF, individually quick frozen. Take it, put it on a tray with some parchment paper. Thank you. Put it on a tray with some parchment paper, let it freeze, and then take it back out, and then put it in a Ziploc bag, take the air out of it, and put it in your freezer to last for like 6 months. So just when you heat it up again, let it thaw out the day before in your fridge. Don't thaw it out in like a microwave or anything. It'll get really chewy and gummy. Yeah? Yes. So we have a vegan, so the vegan cooking class, what we do is we try to teach people, it's basically a 2-category class. It's vegan and also healthy cooking combined into one. And one of the biggest things we do is like, it's not just about vegan, it's about how to cook healthy, and healthy is not low fat. That is the dumbest thing in the world. Low fat has nothing to do with eating healthy. Fat is how you absorb nutrients. Fat is what gives you satiety. Fat is what makes it so you feel full for a long time. I know a lot of people who switch. We were talking before about how savory food is one of the things that people have trouble with and maybe fall off the vegan wagon and come back on. The biggest thing too, though, is just fat. Not having fat, people feel drained. They don't feel full. As an example, for the fat part, like my wife will eat a whole box of those fat-free cookies, a whole box. And like a serving size is 3 cookies, and there's still 180 calories. And so it's like 2,400 calories in one little box of cookies. And then, 30 minutes later, she's starving again. Versus if she had eaten one ooey, gooey, delicious vegan chocolate chip cookie, like one big, delicious, gooey one made with like the, bunch of like Earth Balance butter and big, fatty chocolate chips, that one cookie should probably be full and stuffed, and that one cookie has maybe 380 to 400 calories. So fat is actually really good. So in that class, we talk about how to use fat right, we talk a little bit about how to make a good, healthy portion. I think one of the things that's happened is that people are obsessed with giant portion sizes, and that's how we determine the value of our meal. We don't determine it on the quality anymore, which is really sad for me as a chef. We'll have people who come to our restaurant and they'll be like, what, just like a 5-ounce piece of fish? Like, what a ripoff. And it's like, yeah, but this is like sustainably raised, and it's healthy, and it lived a good life, and it wasn't processed in like some crap fish farm. It was in a good place. It was processed well, and like it was sustainably done. And they're like, yeah, but I can get it at, I won't say the name of the other restaurant. Let's say like a shitty Italian restaurant right behind us. But I can get like a big old like 7-ounce portion of it there for like $9.99, and I'm like, okay, bye. Versus like I could give them a bowl of pasta that cost me 87 cents that was mounding and flowing over, and they're like, man, this is the best deal in town. So I think that's one of the sad things about how we eat now, is that we eat based on bulk and not necessarily on quality. I do see things swinging. I mean, I think Vegan Fest is a good example of that. I mean, you look at what this festival has become in just a very short amount of time. So yay for Vegan Fest, by the way, yeah. But I think this is one of those things. I think you always see things swing. You look at like where we were 10 years ago with cars, with Hummers and giant SUVs, and now people are starting to swing a little bit and say, hey, maybe that's kind of dumb. Maybe I want more like a Prius, or maybe I want like a smaller car. I think you're seeing the same thing. I think we saw like 5 years ago with like bacon obsession, like everyone wanting bacon on everything. I think you start to see, after it goes to one extreme, things start to slip the other way. So I think we're on a good track in swinging that way. So anyway, about the vegan cooking class. So we teach how to cook vegan. And then the other thing too, so yes, we made seitan here, and yes, we made blue cheese dressing, but one of the other big things about cooking vegan is it's not just about having substitutes for things, it's about how do you make something that's really delicious and really filling, that's got natural ingredients in it, that's not just a bunch of canned processed crap. So all of our classes that we do at Liliana's, there are 3 parts. The first part is 20 minutes. We're out at the bar, and we do kind of like a Q&A, talk about what the subject is. Then we go back into our kitchen for about an hour and 10 minutes. And then we go outside and we eat our 3-course meal that we just cooked. So it's a 3-course meal, cooking class, and a little lecture. What? Hands-on. Hands-on, yes. Some classes more than others. The vegan one is very hands-on. It totally depends on what we're doing. Like we do a Cajun Creole cooking class where like, it's watching pots to simmer, so I can have you like stir the whole time if you want. But did you guys hear that question? The question was what made me want to switch to cooking vegan things and helping people out with vegan.
Question?
Do you know it? What?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. You go ahead and tell them.
You don't know?
I don't know. You tell them. Maybe I do. Go ahead.
What I understood about why is that we noticed
Go ahead.
after we became vegetarian, we noticed that that was really hard to find good vegetarian food, and it was really hard, and what we could find was
Crap. You can say it was crap. so
disgusting.
to sum up, the biggest thing for me was, so I had, so my sister was vegan, and it was always hard for her every time she went out to eat, because it was always the like dissecting of the menu, and chefs really were like kind of spiteful that they had to fix their dish differently, and they're like, oh, another vegan, every time that they came in. And you know, I think it's one of those things, I'm gonna be very blunt and very honest, I think it's very hard to advocate for something in any way, and even as a chef, like I advocate for vegetarianism, and I advocate for the welfare of animals, and I advocate for a ton, and I'm challenged every single time by the whole kitchen community, by other chefs in the area, and I'm sure you guys see it, you know, as soon as you start talking about something you're passionate about, when people don't have the same viewpoint as you can watch their eyes glaze as you're talking, and you can see them kind of look over your shoulder and then kind of play with their watch a little bit and then pull out their phone and like start Facebooking as they turn away from you. You know, it's I equate the same thing. I equate the same thing to, have any of you guys ever smoked cigarettes before? Yeah? Have you guys ever been addicted to smoking? I was. It's okay, you don't have to raise your hand, it's okay. So I was, and I smoked for like 10 years, like Marbreds, and I remember every single time someone was like, you know those things will kill you, I was like, yeah, I know, they're great. And my sister and I already have a thing that as soon as they come up with a like, not gonna kill you, no smell cigarette, we're both gonna go to like 4 cartons a day. But I think it's the same thing that happens when you try to talk to someone who likes to eat meat. They know that those animals weren't treated well. They know it's not good for them. They know all of that. Anything you tell them, they already know, but they're not gonna listen to you. And I think that's one of the hard things that vegans face, is that when you try and talk to someone about it, people will instantly make you guys the bad guys, right? It'll instantly be like, oh, fuck, another vegan telling me what to do. But you know, the reality of it is, it's from that constant pestering that people change. And I just think there are 2 ways to go about it, right? In fact, I've got someone right here. Bonnie, over in the back. Can you raise your hand? Raise your hand. I'm pointing you out. That's right. I went up on stage for you, so now you got to raise your hand. So what she does is, so there are 2 different ways you can handle working with a restaurant, right? And I'll give you guys this as great advice. I know some of you guys aren't in the Madison area, you're in different areas, and I'll tell you the best way to get chefs to have more vegan options available, and that's just have a nice, open, honest dialogue that isn't attacky or threatening. As soon as you guys start, I'm not grouping you guys, but as soon as anyone starts to sound even a little bit like either preachy or whatever, you'll see the chef's eyes glaze over just like the other people do. And what Bonnie will do is she'll have a really open dialogue. She'll go and eat at that restaurant first. She'll go eat at that restaurant, and then she'll ask if there are vegan options. And if there aren't, then she'll write a really nice, beautiful letter or email or Facebook message to the chef or the owner and say, hey, I ate at your restaurant the other day, everything was great, but maybe could you offer a couple different options that are available for me? But I would say the biggest thing for a restaurateur is to support the places that are really doing it for you guys. You know, like I see, and I'm not trying to like knock on anyone, I know everyone likes to have variety, but I see all these people post on like either the Mad City vegan community or on other vegan communities across the US, like, hey, if you go to like Applebee's and you modify 37 different things, you can actually eat something there. And I'm like, dude, you can eat my whole menu, like come on down, you know? So like the places that really do go out of their way to help you, I would say skip the chain restaurant, skip the big restaurants who don't really care about your cause. They're just doing it because it's finally met a certain demographic that it's meeting that. And go and support the little guys, because the little guys are the ones that talk amongst ourselves. So every time, because I've got a big name in the chef community for vegan and vegetarian cooking, every time I go to like ACF or I go to Mackin meeting or any of other of my like Madison Originals, all of my culinary meetings I go to, I always chefs ask me, is it worth it? And I'm honest, 5 years ago, no, it really wasn't. I did it because I thought it was the right thing to do. Just like buying sustainable, it doesn't help me. I lose more money doing sustainable. I could put horrible crap processed meat and food out at my restaurant and my sales wouldn't change at all. They wouldn't. Everyone lies. You go to any other restaurant in town and they'll lie about it. I'm not trying to sound pessimistic, but it's true. Most restaurants you go to when they say they buy local, I'll give you an example. I could give you right now, well, not you guys because you're vegan, but let's just say I could give someone right now a sandwich with country hearth bread, Oscar Mayer bologna, Kraft mayo, or Hellman's mayo, Kraft cheese, and a Miller Lite, and say this is a 100% local dish. I could give it to you, and it would be. It'd be 100% from within a 100-mile radius dish made in Wisconsin. But how many of you guys, if I said, hey, I create local food from local producers, would think that that would count? Anyone? You would? Oh, I saw you raise your hand. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Anything organic? So, great question. We get asked that question a lot too, and I'm going to give you the honest truth about organic. So the honest truth about organic is that the farms that you buy from that are organic had enough money to buy the certification for being organic, and it's a huge cost. What does organic really mean? Yes, there are some regulations, but does it really mean that it's 100% pesticide-free? No. Does it mean it's 100% non-GMO? No. Does it mean a lot? No. Is it better than the crap you get from the grocery store? Yes. But is it better than what I get from my local farmers? So at Charlie's, we buy from about 45 to 55 different local farmers. So every single week, I'm writing about 46 different checks to different farmers for like $40 here, $70 there, and it's a huge amount of time for me. Liliana's, we have about 37 different farms that we use. But almost all of my farmers are all doing organic practices. So to answer your question, most of them farm organically, but they can't afford the $2,500 certification it costs to become certified organic. So yes, I do have product that is organic, but I can't label it as organic because a lot of the farmers that we use are so small. I mean, we have a lot of farms that are 1-acre farms or 2-acre farms, and they're just a guy going out in the morning and doing harvest and doing it the way that he should be, So, yeah. I'm just letting it boil. So after we put it in the plastic wrap, sorry, you missed the plop. So after it's, by the way, I like saying plop in sign language. That's pretty great. So all I do is I'm gonna let this boil now for about an hour and a half. Just simmer. So like just a couple little bubbles. Simmer for an hour and a half. And then after an hour and a half, I'm gonna take it off the heat and I'm just gonna set it on the counter until I can stick my finger in the water and it's room temperature. And then I'll take it out and put it in the fridge. So that's it, just really simple. And then I slice it, I cube it. So these are little cubes that we're putting out. You can pan-sear it and fry it. By the way, for the flavor and texture and all that, this is just to give you an idea. It's so much better when it's fresh. This I had to cook off, obviously, a couple hours ago, and then it sat in a hotel pan and then traveled here. When it's actually like fresh, it sears off and crisps up just like other like Gardein and whatnot. And it's really great. Yeah? Yes, you can use whole wheat. Whole wheat bread flour. So just make sure it's the bread flour part. So the difference between bread flour, cake flour, and all-purpose flour is just how finely it's ground. So a really, really, really finely ground flour is cake flour, and that's got very low gluten. It doesn't get stretchy like gluten. And then the coarser ground it is, like a bread flour, then that works better in this because it's more gluten-y. So bread flour is a less coarse ground flour. Yeah? It's chimichurri. Oh, great question. So the green sauce that's on top is chimichurri. Chimichurri is equal parts of parsley, cilantro, and fresh oregano with a little ancho chili, lime juice, garlic, and then you puree it, and then you emulsify it with grapeseed oil. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Raise your hand.